Okay, good morning. This is Richard Hsu, host of Hsu Untied. This morning, I'm really pleased and thrilled to have with me as my guest Andrew Skale, who's a partner at Mintz Levin. Andrew, welcome to the program.
Hi, excited to be here, Richard.
So, Andrew, you have one of the more unusual backgrounds for lawyers, at least. You were an electrical engineer as an undergrad. Tell me a little bit about how you chose that major in the first place.
Well, as a kid, I always was excelled in math and science, and I really enjoyed it. And I was lucky to be at a high school that had a very hands-on electronics program. So they had a
Mm.
lab where I ended up making like a digital clock and a strobe light. And it wasn't the math behind the like electrical engineering stuff. It was more like a vocational kind of class where you
Hmm.
would learn all about how electronics work and soldering. And I really enjoyed that a lot.
Hmm.
And when I was thinking I'm going to do something engineering, thought of all the different disciplines, and electrical really resonated with me.
Yeah. Well, what kind of electrical engineering did you focus on in college? Were you more of a circuit guy or analog, programming, digital? There's a lot of things you could do in college.
Yeah, all right. There was lots of choices. So I have a minor in computer science, and
Okay.
so I had a big love of computers. I started with old Commodore 64. I don't know if you ever
Oh, I
had. I'm
remember that.
sure you did.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're familiar with any of these things, which you are. And so I did some programming on the Commodore 64, and then when PCs came around, I ended up getting a PC, and so I really enjoyed the computer aspect to it. And when I was in school back then, computer science was really part of the engineering program. They didn't really kind of branch it off at that point. And so it was kind of electrical with a focus on computers, but I did my fair share of the electrics and circuits. I TA'd a circuits lab, which I remember fondly.
I programmed my senior program thesis in an Intel 8088
Wow, that's great. Yeah, that's right. That
in
was before.
assembly, as you may
Oh,
recall.
nice. Yes. I programmed a racing video game in assembly
Wow.
where like the horses would run around the screen. And the only problem is I had them programmed to run to their true odds. And so, a horse that was 9-1 versus a horse that was 2-1 would almost always lose because I should have randomly generated it better, but it worked. It got me the A, so I was happy with it.
Well, did you ever work as an engineer, either in summer or after college?
I did. I worked at a, a company that created circuit testers. And
Oh.
so what would happen is anyone using any type of electronic circuit would want to test it before putting it into their toasters or computers or wherever. And so I made the diagnostics for the circuit tester, which was it was very cool. Although I learned a valuable lesson while I was there, which I'll tell your guests. So I had worked really hard on this program, and it worked great. It was flawless. It was fantastic. I couldn't wait for the demo. So the time the demo came, and so I loaded up my software onto the computer that was going to be used for the demo and just ran it without testing it, which you should very much do. Anytime you're going to do a presentation or run anything or load software, run it because I found out later it didn't have some of the background software that I had on my machine that I didn't bring over. And so I got all the executives around and they're like, well, this doesn't work. And so I was quite embarrassed. And then I later was able to show them. But word to the wise is just test it on the actual running machine that
Machine.
you're going to use.
That's a word, that's a very wise word. Well, tell me a little bit how you decided to make a transition to law then from there.
So when I was in high school, I was on the debate team, and I
Okay.
really enjoyed that aspect of using logic to argue your points. So going into engineering, I had a thought that I was going to go into law school because I was
Oh,
told by a number of people you can have any degree to get into law school.
yeah,
What
right.
I didn't know getting into there was any notion of patent law.
Hmm.
And that was lucky because I happened to know someone who knew someone. I think it was a friend of my mother, actually,
Hmm.
who knew a patent lawyer.
Hmm.
And so I got the opportunity to talk to this patent lawyer, go visit him at his law offices. So I was at University of Illinois, This lawyer was in Chicago, so when I was home for a break, I got to go, have lunch with this lawyer, and that's where I learned, wow, this would be a great intersection of
Mm,
my engineering and my
mm.
law degree. And so right then, I'm like, this is the way I'm going.
Oh, interesting. And I assume then you really like law school. Was it a good fit for you? And even though it was very different from an engineering education?
So much different. The way I tell anyone, look, law school is difficult, but being an engineer, that was way harder. Many more late nighters,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
nighters, just
yeah,
studying, working on labs.
yeah.
But law school was fantastic. I went to law school at NYU, great atmosphere. We Because of our location and its reputation, we got a lot of great speakers. I got to meet Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, which
Mm,
was an incredible honor.
mm,
And law school was a lot of fun,
mm.
especially being in New York.
Yeah, yeah,
A lot
yeah.
of company law firms out there. I know my buddies and I we would love to like kind of meet the law firms because we get a free meal and free beer. So yeah, and there was plenty of law firms that would come down there. So
Well, while you were in law school, did you think about being something other than a patent lawyer? Obviously, you could have been any kind of lawyer. Did you think at all about doing something else, or you were totally laser focused on the patent thing?
very laser focused, and especially when I'm interviewing all the firms that had any type of patent law department. It's like, oh, you'd be perfect for this. And I like it. I like the math aspect of
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
and the science aspect of it. And what I really like is you're meeting the cutting edge technologies,
yeah,
something that's never been done before. You're getting to experience before
yeah,
anyone else.
yeah, yeah.
So no, it was predetermined. I was going into IP. What I didn't realize though is that I've really kind of shifted more to more trademark work, and so
Oh,
that I
interesting.
would not have predicted. I would have thought patent law throughout my
Huh.
entire career.
Was
Now,
that was that a deliberate switch, or it just happened that that's kind of where your practice kind of migrated towards?
when I first started, if you were an IP attorney, you did all of it. If you were a
Yeah.
patent attorney, all the trademark copyright work, yeah, I got pushed down your way. And so I got this expertise with all the disciplines of IP, which
Hmm.
was great, and I'm tremendously grateful for that experience.
Hmm.
And then as my career started to develop more, I started to get to be the guy to pick up more of the trademarks because there was a
Hmm.
number of patent attorneys who didn't do any trademark work. And so
Hmm.
whatever firm I was at, I would just kind of be the go-to guy for trademarks. And now it's been that's a big part of my practice. I
Hmm.
still do patent law, I still do patent prosecution, litigation, more out of a senior level, kind of overseeing.
Hmm.
But trademark work, I really enjoy. The examiners
Interesting.
they're working with you to kind of get that trademark allowed.
Huh.
And I like coming up with those unique arguments. I like
Huh.
being the one where they say, hey, no one says we can get a trademark here. And I say, well, let me think about it. Let's see if we can figure out a way to get that. And I've had
Interesting.
some great successes in there where others have failed. I can proudly say I was able to obtain the trademark rights.
What's the most complicated technology you've had to grapple with as a patent lawyer, would you say?
That's an easy one. So this is when I was a younger attorney, I met this client and he came to me and said, I've got this unique product, and this is all right. So this is early 2000s. So
Okay.
we're talking 20 years ago.
Yeah.
He said, I've got a computer that writes books. And I was like very intrigued.
Hmm.
And he showed me the back engine stuff. And in fact, it was a secret. I don't even know if this has ever came out. So this would be a time I could tell you. At the time, he was the most prolific author on Amazon. So
Okay.
he had more books authored by his computer, which in essence was just AI, than
Wow.
anyone else. And it was 20 years ago. That was incredible. It was a lot of
Huh.
fun to work on that.
Huh.
Oh yeah, it was great stuff because the computer would author the book, would author the press release, would author the Amazon listing, and it was all automated. So he was just churning out these books. Now a lot of them were not fiction books. Most
Right.
of them were like predictive cell phone uses in Argentina in from 2015 to 2025,
Huh.
and it was just gathering data off of the internet to make these predictive analysis. And so he would do
Mm,
that for every country. And so he would get the kind of template for this, cell phone use and then have it run for every country.
mm,
And he would sell these things for a couple $100 because there's no one else who would do it. And he wouldn't
mm,
have to sell very many
mm,
because it was all automated. But
interesting.
but seeing it, incredible. And then working on the patent for that, a lot of fun.
Well, let me switch gears a little bit to something else in your background that's super unusual and also a passion of mine, and that is you are a magic member at the Magic Castle, which is super impressive. I was a member there, not as a magician to be clear, but I've seen the quality of magic, and it's no easy thing. Well, tell me, when did you get into magic, and how did you get into magic?
Uh, all right, I'm going to tell you the real story because there's the fake story that I use, but I'm going to tell you the real story.
Okay,
So I liked it as a kid
okay,
uh, a lot, as a lot of kids do.
yeah,
They
exactly.
love
What kid
magic.
doesn't like magic?
Of course,
Yeah,
it's amazing, it's
yeah.
intriguing, it's mystical. But in college, I had one of my the friends was on the dorm room floor for me, and he was a buddy of mine, and he pulled out this magic trick he did. The trick is called, for anyone who doesn't know, short aside, all magic tricks get a name. So there's a title for
Mm,
all magic tricks. If you
yeah,
watch the Penn and Teller show, they'll sometimes drop hints using the names of the different magic.
yeah, yeah.
This is called the Invisible Deck. I don't know if
Okay.
you're familiar with it. It's a
Uh-huh.
classic. I had never seen it. What happens is you're handed an invisible deck, you pick a card, and then magically the real deck has that card turned upside down. And my friend did this magic trick for me. I was blown away. I
Uh-huh.
made him show it to me like 30 times.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
so he finally said, "We're going to the magic store. I'm just going to take you there." And so he did, and they taught that I paid for a couple things, and they taught me how to do that trick and other tricks. And I soon realized, and this is the story I don't tell many people, that it was a great way to meet women at the bar. It was a wonderful icebreaker because what woman wouldn't like a magic trick, and so I used that to enhance my otherwise very weak skills of dating.
So this is definitely mother's the invention of necessity. What mother? What is that?
Oh
What's that
yeah,
phrase?
uh,
Invention is the mother of what's the phrase?
gosh, yes, I know, I know
Necessity
where
is the
you're.
mother. Necessity is the mother of
Yes,
invention.
there it is. Well done. Yeah, that's where that came about. Uh, and so, well, just to continue the story, and so then
Yeah.
I worked on some of my skills, and I learned that I put it on my resume that
Right.
I did magic.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And so at interviews, I would be asked, and so I was always prepared. If someone ever asked, I would do magic. I would say, "Sure, let me show you something." It was great with interviewing because it kind of set you apart. It was a little unique.
Yeah.
Someone's
Right.
interviewed 20 people that day. They remember the guy who did the magic trick. And so I kept up with it. And so I've just continued to develop my skills. Luckily, I got inducted in the Magic Castle about 15 years ago. And I every time I go up there now, I'll perform. I love doing it. And to be honest, my thought would be, and I hope I can do this, after I retire from law, I would love to be a magician on a cruise ship and be
Wow.
like the entertainment
Wow.
there.
Wow.
Not because he would be in a position where he wouldn't really need the money. You're doing it just for the fun and the
Yeah.
enjoyment of cruising.
Yeah, totally. Well, what is the Magic Castle magic test? What does that entail? I don't know what it entails, and I heard it's really hard. What do you have to do to pass that test? It's not easy, so I understand.
It is not. It is you have to demonstrate your proficiency by performing in front of a group of judges.
Uh-huh.
It's a 5 minute test. If you go 1 second over 5 minutes, you're disqualified. So
Huh.
you have to demonstrate your skill within 5 minutes.
Huh.
I'm going to use because this is one of my proudest moments as a father. My daughter, I have three kids. My middle daughter loves magic. They have a program at the Magic Castle. So just for your audience's sake, the Magic Castle houses, it's kind of the pinnacle of accomplishment to be a member of that
Yep.
as a magician. And they have a program for juniors. So from 13 to 21, if you're under that age, you can become a member, but it's very limited. There's only about 100 spots for it.
Wow.
So she auditioned and she was up on stage. and they were telling her, look, you can't be over 5 minutes. So we had practiced this like 15 times because she was petrified of going over the 5 minute mark.
Yeah.
But you have to do, skills within 5 minutes. And
Yeah.
so she knocked it out of the park.
Wow.
She was admitted on her first try, which is rare, and when she was just turned 13, which is also rare. So she
Wow.
became a junior member. It was such a proud moment for me as a father.
Wow. That's super
But
cool.
I was way more scared for her with her audition going on than anything I had done. So it was I told her when I was done, I hope you were not nearly as nervous as me. And she's like, "Oh no, Dad, this was great."
Well, what are the areas of magic that you typically like to do? Is it more cars? Is it cups and balls? What is kind of your area that most of your magic is done?
I focus on close up.
Uh-huh.
So generally, in the magic world, you have close up magic where it's right in front of you, it's in your hands,
Yeah.
and then there's stage magic with the stuff you'll see like in Las Vegas, like
Yep.
kind of David Copperfield type. So I do close up. I love doing magic with a deck of playing cards, but what I've really kind of pivoted into is using my engineering degree to focus on magic using cell phones.
Oh, really?
So the magic I'm going to do for you later today is with your cell phone. So
Okay, well let's jump right in.
you want to
My
do it?
audience is
All
waiting
right.
for this. This is the fun.
All right.
This is the pinnacle moment. Go ahead.
All right. By the way, has anyone else done magic on your podcast?
No, you're the first
Oh, wow.
one.
I'm
You're the
honored. I'm the
first
first.
one.
All
You're the
right.
first one. I thought you were
Well,
going to show me that the one magic trick I know is the arm trick. So I'm glad you're not showing me that.
well, thanks.
The hand over hand arm trick.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah,
Where you
yeah,
turn up the
yeah.
thumb. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so you're not
Uh,
doing that. Okay, but go
that,
ahead. So this is the
that,
first time anyone on my podcast has done a magic trick. So
all right. So what we're going to do, go to your calculator right there
calculate. Okay, all right.
and tell me when you have it out, zeroed out.
Okay, zero. Hang on, I gotta go to basic. Okay, got it zeroed out.
Oh, you have the new update with the
Yeah,
basic.
yeah.
All right. So, Richard, name for me any random zip code in the country. So this is, don't tell me the place. Don't make it somewhere easy like in California, but 5 digits, just shout them out.
86789.
All right. So 86789, just type that in. 86789.
Okay, all right.
You got that? All right. Hit multiply.
Okay,
And now, what is your birthday? Just the month and the day.
331.
So multiply by 331. There you go. And then you'll hit equals and you should show 28,727,159.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Good. Not yet the magic, but still impressive.
Okay.
All right, hit plus. Now, name for me any random date in history. So this can be a meaningful date, it could be a boring date, any date. Just shout out month, day, and year.
How about November 5th, 2024?
So no 0 11/05/2024, which is today, 2 days ago, or election day, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, election day.
11/05/2024. All right, and then hit equals.
Yeah.
And so you should have 39,779,183.
I've got 2.837.
Oh no, you had hit plus.
What's that?
Apply. You were supposed to do plus. Sorry. So
I did hit plus.
well, it should be. It
Oh,
should
I
be.
didn't do 2024. Okay,
All right.
can I clear the entry or not? Or
Well,
that's
you can either trust me or you can start over. You can kind
I'll
of.
just trust you. I'll just trust you.
Okay. So type in your numbers 39,779,183. Type that in.
Okay. 39,779,183. Okay, got it.
And
Okay.
people can go back and do the math. I haven't done anything funny.
Okay.
And then you're going to hit plus,
Okay.
and we're going to do a random number. So let me put some random number in there. So good. So 79,45744.
79,45744. Okay.
And hit equals. So we took your random zip code, your random birthday, your random date, my random number. We got this 110 million number.
Okay.
Richard, does this number mean anything to you?
I don't think so.
You recognize the date before. What's today's date?
Oh,
11/07/24.
11/7/24. Yeah,
And
I
what
see
time is it exactly?
that.
The 9:27?
Pretty
There
good.
you go. All
Pretty
right.
good.
That only
Pretty
works for
good.
1 minute.
Pretty good.
Not gonna be 927.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Oh, all right, good.
Do you so how often do you get to perform at the Magic Castle?
So every time I go, so for those who've never been there, it's an amazing experience. You have to get dressed up. Men have
Yep.
to wear a suit. Women have
Yep.
to dress up as well. And you'll have dinner, and then you have, as you know, you get to see magic. And it's not like you see magic while you're eating, which is a lot of places are.
Yep.
It's in a separate room, and then you go. This is for your audience sake because I know you know.
Yep.
You go to many different rooms. In every room, there's a new magician performing. And so when you're there, you'll see like a dozen different magicians all doing like a 30-minute set. And so there's two different kind of types. There's the ones that have been paid and they're on the marquee and they've got the schedule. And then as a member, I have the right to perform in a number of impromptu rooms. So if one of these rooms, you go in, you sit, the magician changes every 30 minutes. It's just to whoever happens to be in the castle that day.
Yeah.
So every time I go up, I'll sign up for one of the impromptu rooms.
Okay. Got it. Got it. So one of the things I tried to study to be a magician for a little while when I was in the Magic Castle. And one of the things I learned from a few magicians that I know, a couple of them are actually lawyers. They said one of the things they stressed, and I like to hear your thoughts on this, is that doing magic is not about the trick. That's like the least important thing. It's about the performance, the build up, the story, the drama, and how that magic is put together, which is why a magician can look at a trick and even though they know exactly how it's done, what they're evaluating is how it was performed. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
100% agree.
Okay.
So it's the patter, what you're referring to. That's the whole, spiel, the talk that you give while you're presenting.
Yeah.
I mean, if I just say pick a card, oh, you pick the eight of clubs, it's very boring. It's the
Yeah.
whole story that goes around it.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
finding that in a unique way or tying that to something magical or mystical or unique. It is absolutely 100%. I would say 90% the story, and I mean 100% you were right because it's 90% the story and 10% the magic and the skill.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is being able to present, and that's what's so fun for me because I love the experiencing the audience, their awe. Because I know when the moment's going to be when
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
like just kind of like you when I just realized the time and all the actions. That's the best part, is like that moment of wow, that's amazing. And so it's just a great feeling being able to entertain and make people happy. And one other thing that's so nice too is I've done magic around the world, a lot of different conferences I'll go to where lawyers from all over are there, and it's universal.
Yeah.
It's maybe like a fraction of a percent of someone who just has no interest, doesn't want to see it. Even people who at first are skeptical, like, is this something that's gonna be hokey? I usually can get them to really like it.
Yeah.
And so I love that it's something that crosses all types of barriers and everyone can enjoy.
Have you ever performed for your partners at a partner retreat or anything like that?
I have. That I was nervous about. So
Yeah.
we have at our partner retreat, spouses are invited. So it was like 300 people, and it was a huge room. It was outside actually, a huge area outside, and so that one I practiced many times because I'm like, if I screw this up, I'm never gonna live it. But it worked out very well, and it's one like so the one that I just did that works for any size audience. So everyone doing that, it's all going to have the same result, which is a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so I'll do that when I perform at the Magic Castle, and then there's another magic trick I do. I borrow it off of Penn and Teller. They fantastic magicians. It involves ripping up cards, and it's a lot of fun. Next time I'll make sure you have some cards. We'll do the ripping up one because that'll work as
Sounds
well.
good. Sounds good.
But yeah, I did so I have. And then at partner retreats all the time, partners come up to me and want to see something. So I always have a deck of cards in my sports coat ready to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Well, Andrew, this has been a fascinating conversation. Didn't know about your magic, but it was super fun, and I really appreciate your sharing your story with me.
Oh, thank you. Honored to be on here. Thank you so much. Anytime you want to chat again, please call on me.
This is Richard Hsu and Andrew Skale. Thanks.